Hi everyone. Today, this is Ajanta ma'am. Today, we shall be discussing a doctor's journal entry for August 6th, 1945. This poem has been prescribed in class 9. In this poem, the poet describes the scene after the atomic explosion of Hiroshima very vividly. The fact that it is written in the first person makes the account seem that it is authentic and as if it has just happened. What is the most important thing in the poem is that how the people of the town are so much in shock that they cannot find any words to say. They are neither screaming in anger nor are they crying in despair. They have not recovered enough to do so. And since this was the very first time in human history that nuclear weapons were used, the residents of Hiroshima had no previous experience of it. Neither did the world have any previous experience. They didn't know as to what was happening to them. They didn't know what to do about it. They didn't know how to stop it, how to protect themselves. They were so helpless that they had lost even their sense of self-dignity. They were no longer being ashamed of being naked. This poem thereby brings out how the common people suffer when such historical events take place. The common people suffer because they have no knowledge of such decisions, and they are the ones who are affected the most. Vikram Seth, the poet, captures the helplessness so effectively that the readers can sympathize with their sufferings very easily. The poet consists of 30 rhyming couplets and a triplet. And the triplet occurs in lines 29, 30 and 31, and each of which rhymes with the other two. The poem is in the form of journal entry made for August 6, 1945 by a doctor. And the poem begins with a very peaceful note. The poem revolves around, as I said, the theme of destruction caused by the bombing of Hiroshima, that is in Japan. And the narration in the poem is carried out by a doctor on spot who describes how everybody in Hiroshima was leading a normal life when suddenly this catastrophic event happened, and thereby everybody was affected by it. Now, the central idea of the poem can be said that it talks about the effect of war on the common people. 1945 marked the sixth and the final year of the Second World War, and by August Germany had already surrendered to the Allies, but Japan was the only country that refused to do so. This was a political decision that was taken by the then Japanese administration, and it did not reflect what the common people thought about, or it did not reflect their views necessarily. As a result of Japan refusing to surrender to the United States, the United States dropped atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, two cities. It was largely the civilians who were killed because of the bombings, and even though a large number of people remained greatly affected, they were maimed by this bombing. Therefore, the common people were the ones who suffered. Vikram Seth describes what happens after the bombing of Hiroshima. The poem begins very, very calmly, and then there are two sudden, consecutive, strong flashes which startles the narrator. We know who the narrator is. It's the doctor. Immediately, it was a matter of great devastation that had taken place. There was debris everywhere, dust was swirling, everything was falling apart. The narrator, who is a doctor, is not only scared, not just for himself or his wife, but for all the people in his vicinity. He describes the horrific scene, how people are unable to react in any manner to the happenings. As anger can be called a sign of non-acceptance. When people are angry, they are screaming and shouting. It means that they are not accepting the wrongdoing. But here it was the silence of the victims of Hiroshima that these people were passively accepting whatever was happening to them. But they had no choice. This massive destruction of property and loss of lives caused by Hiroshima bombing that affected not only the common people, not the administration that carries on the wars. Thereby, the poem can be also called an anti-war poem. The narrative technique of the poem uses a prose pattern and a journal form as a reporting device because it dispenses with the necessity of using rhyme and other poetic devices. Thank you for watching. Please stay tuned for more.